Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Kooplings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. My name is Donnie Reese, and tonight we are recording episode 194, titled Donnie's Mario Golf Impressions, because there's going to be a lot of that. I brought notes. As you can see, if you're watching the live stream, we have a guest here. Steven's back, Zenith from the Discord.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. Thank you for filling in for Garrett, who's on just an illustrious vacation. I saw women and just Honolulu skirts, drinks, tropical beaches. Like, he is living it up. He may never come back. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
That's right, Garrett. I'll hold down the fort as long as you need. I gotcha.
Welcome back. Before we get into the show proper, let me thank those that support us over at Patreon. Patreon.com/PSVG. You can get all of our DLC and extra bonuses and all that good stuff. So thank you, Michael Masick, Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, B-Mox, Nick Fallhaber, Paul Calicote, Kyle Hyman, Devin Tyus, Josh Borboni, RJ Kern, Horse Girl 69, Zach Adams, and Joe Wilson. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. I will let you know that House Party 2022 conversations have begun. They have begun to circle in the private parts of the Discord. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. I don't think I can do shirts again. They almost broke us. They almost just broke all of PSVG. I think I'm still paying for shipping for shirts somehow.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
They're awesome. They're great shirts.
Thank you. I don't know how you guys want to do this. Do you want to just do Mario Golf right at the top? Do you want to get some stuff out of the way? Do you guys want to talk about something first? Because I'm going to talk.
I feel like if we
don't
let you get this out of the way, that we'll just end up with this being first anyway.
Did you get Mario Golf?
I didn't. You pretty soundly dissuaded me from buying it day one.
So it's gonna be the solo show then. Okay, all right. My Mario Golf impressions. I've beat the solo player. I've played multiplayer. I've played battle golf. I've played with motion controls. I probably dumped 8 hours the day after it came out, just full into the game, and then I played that night, and I played the next night, and I played most of the day on Sunday. I'm going to say a lot of things that are probably going to come off to a lot of people's negative, but before I say those things, I want to let everybody know that I think the game is okay. It's fine. If I was reviewing it, that's what I would review it as. I think there are some real criticisms that even the most casual Nintendo fan could probably accept. Most notably, as we've been talking about leading into this for the last month, it's a little light on content. I think that's a very easy stone to throw at it. Nobody should really argue that. They've promised to fix that with free updates, but without a roadmap as to when those updates are coming, I don't put too much stock into that. Does that mean we get a course for a year? 2 years? What does that mean? You're asking.
It could also mean things like costumes or something that might not necessarily be gameplay content.
Here's a green golf ball.
Yeah.
Thanks, Camelot.
Be happy.
So especially with the way and it's not like Aces had a tremendous roadmap. There were periods of time where Aces was just not doing anything for a while. And then they did turn it around. So I do give them credit. And I do have faith that they will give this game the respect that it deserves. So I actually am not really all that concerned about the content. It's a little light, but I think what's there is okay. I have bigger concerns than that, though. So I wrote down notes because I had some thoughts. And I don't know if I want to start with the good or the bad first. I feel like I should start with the bad because then maybe I can
start with the good.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that Mario Golf uses the invite system for multiplayer. It's very nice. We don't get to do a whole lot of that. This is stuff that should be adopted. This is just how it should be. And I hope that this is signs in the future that this is how it will be. Come Splatoon and stuff. Just being able to say hey, I want to invite my friends. They all pop up, you click them, you send the invite, they click the button, they go into the game. It's still a little weird. Jace was saying that when he accepted the invite, the game rebooted. and like reloaded him in. Like, it's still weird, but hey, it worked. I will say that I played with, we played with Drew from Australia. Like, I played with Jason, I played with Sean, I played with Jeff. I beat Jeff Grubb a few times, actually. I just want to have that pointed out.
You're not going to let him forget either.
He smoked us the first round. But to my credit, for anybody that was watching that live stream, I was trying to figure out how to play. I think it's pretty clear. Like, he and Sean beat me by 12 strokes, and then I think I smoked them the rest of the way. I was trying to figure out actually how to do the shots and stuff. But we had fun. That was a blast. Simultaneous play. Being able to everybody to swing at the same time and keep playing is a great speed of pace. I don't give them too much credit for that. That's been done in other golf games, but it's nice to see them adopt it so you don't have to sit there and watch everybody play, because that makes it infinitely harder to do.
A clarification on that, because that's different than the rush mode where you can't see where your shot goes. On this one, you can still see where your shot goes, but
Correct.
You can just immediately take the next shot.
You can play in stroke play, and you just play while you're all playing at the same time. You do have to wait for somebody to finish the hole before you move on to the next hole.
The next one.
But
that sounds nice. That sounds like the best way to play it.
That is absolutely the best way that I would recommend or argue that you should play it.
You don't have to wait for people to take their turn and...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing that I really like about the game, look at my notes here, the golf courses are open. And this is something we saw in Everybody's Golf. I think Mario Golf Super Rush takes it to kind of a new level, to when they put you on the tee, you can literally hit it in any direction you want to. It's kind of neat because depending on the conditions, like the wind or the rain, you may not even want to play on the hole that you're on. Like, you may just want to hit it into the fairway to the left of you or to the other hole. You may be on hole 7, but you find a better path if you hit it down hole 5. That's cool, and I think it adds a little strategy that most golf games have not had, and I like that. I think that's pretty neat. And I was playing, and I was like, this is kind of cool. They take it a bit too far, though, with the cross-country mode.
I've heard everyone complain about it, but I haven't seen why. I need somebody to explain to me
I forget what the
why
cross-country mode
cross-country is so bad.
Yeah, they didn't
What
really
is that?
talk about it a whole lot, I don't think. So here's the thing. I'm going to go to this now because I don't think it's a bad thing. I think I'm just a little bit mixed on it. Call this kind of put it in the if category. I respect it for what it is, but I don't like it. But I kind of like that they did something. Cross-country is golf that I've never played before. And for that, I give it respect. I've played every golf game I think I've ever seen. And I've never played anything like this. Cross-country golf is a mode in the game where you tee off, you have to complete a certain amount of holes, you have the entire course, like open world golf course, in front of you. When you hit it into a hole, you tee up right there. Like right where you're standing, you tee up right there, and then you have to pick another hole to go to. And you can play them all out of order. You just have to complete them. And it really puts a lot of strategy into the game that I've never played before. I don't like it. I think it's choreful. There's an entire section of the single player dedicated to this mode. And I think that's why people don't like it, because they force you to play it. You have to play it. And I think it'd be more fun playing with friends. Like, if you were racing, it would be more fun playing with friends as a race than it is playing by yourself, because they have this crazy elevation where you have to hit up a mountain, and they have these warp pipes, like these little tornado swirls that if you hit your ball into, it'll throw it up there. But if you don't map out where you're going, you have to hit out of the way to get to one of those, or you just try to hit it up there yourself. So you can really throw up some big scores on that if you're not really paying attention to kind of the direction you're trying to go in. Mm-hmm. My biggest complaint about the part of the single player that they force you to play in that is they limit the way that they judge you, the way that you're graded in that section of the campaign is it's based on total strokes. So they give you 30 swings to complete 6 holes or something. It has nothing to do with your score at all. I didn't like that as much. I think it'd be a lot better to play that, if there was an online tournament based on cross-country golf where we all were just let loose to go out, you got to complete 9 holes, you can do them in any order that you want, lowest score wins. That sounds like a lot of fun. That is something that no golf game has ever done before. That sounds crazy. I'm here for that. But they didn't do that. They just set you out there and they're like, You got to complete it in 30 strokes or you do it again. It's kind of not.
Yeah, because on the surface that sounds really interesting and unique. But
it is unique.
I guess what you're saying though is it just doesn't work as single player. It really requires multiple people.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like it would be very fun as single player.
No,
It sounds like it's more of a competitive type of
It's not fun.
mode.
Like when you're out there by yourself, it's not fun. It's not very fun.
Like what are you trying to go against? Like it doesn't seem.
But I was trying to
you're
keep
not
an
really going
open
against
mind.
yourself.
And when open mind with 4 people set off in their own direction, or if it was Mario Golf 3DS and it had online tournaments that you could play with ghost players, and you could see what every direction people were taking and which one, like who got the best score based on the map that they were going, that's kind of fun. Like that's really fun, actually, I think.
They don't offer multiplayer for that mode?
There's that's a good question. I haven't played multiplayer that mode.
Okay.
So I don't know. I want to say I think every mode has multiplayer. I just didn't
But
play
it should at least have local, right? Like at least 2.
Yeah, and I think you can play with
local.
4, but like I'm thinking if it was like 3DS and you could just stand up a cross-country tournament and have 60 people play this course in any direction they want to, that would be a lot of fun, especially if you could like analyze. In my head, I have like this Breath of the Wild tracker in my head where you could see like what
the little
the
zigzags
trail
or
where
the path,
people played. Like that sounds fun.
Oh, that would be such a good idea.
Yeah. So I tried to
even if they just did people on your friends list, not even globally, like because I know that might be a lot, but yeah, because
or just the winner,
see, like what you did offline. Yeah.
Just the winner. Like
And
this person won, and here's how they went.
Yeah.
And I imagine they let you use items or power-ups or whatever the unique things are. So if you could see like, hey, somebody who's using Bowser has this innate advantage here where somebody like Yoshi maybe isn't faring as well and kind of plan against that. Yeah, that opens up a lot of possibilities for multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I tried to keep an open mind to that. And even though I didn't like it, I still put it down in it's neat. I'm very shocked anytime a golf game gives me something I feel like I've never seen before. And I was kind of shocked. I was playing this. I was like, I never even thought of this before. So good. Kudos to them. Okay. Let's go to the bad side.
That's kind of a short, good list.
Yeah, it's pretty short. Okay. I'm going to get this out of the way early because I think this is a low-hanging fruit one. The campaign is weird. It's weird in a good way. Like, I think in a really good way. Compared to, like, what I played from Aces, like, this is much better than that. Because it's video gamey, the problem is it's just really poorly supported. It feels unfinished. It feels like they were running out of time and just made a drastic left turn. I mean, you were playing golf, the golf game, the golfest game ever. And, I mean, spoilers, there's like a dragon. You're like, what the hell just happened? Why did this happen and where is it? It goes so...
To be fair, have you played Super Mario Odyssey?
I mean, it just really, really takes a left turn. And it goes super fantasy, which... it's kind of awesome. I was playing it. I was like, I'd never expected we'd get a golf game with a campaign that you're doing this, right? I just wish it was more fleshed out and really supported and the reasons you were doing were explained. And like, it really, to me, I was like, this is almost nonsensical. When I was playing, I was like, this is just because it's Mario.
Nonsensical in the way like they just had a bunch of random ideas that they shoehorned together or?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
You know, because it's not, here's the thing. It's not foreign to the Mario universe. It's just usually in the Mario universe, you've got reasoning, right? Bowser takes Peach and he goes down the tunnel and now you're in upside down world and everything's upside down here. This literally just like, and this happens and you're like, I don't even know who this is. Why is this happening? There's
It
like some
sounds like
stuff
they
like
had
that.
a lot of good ideas, but maybe not a direction for it, or like it wasn't very focused, or you know, it sounds like it's just they didn't thread it together very well.
Well, it's just very strange because I played for maybe 5 or 6 hours and I did nothing even remotely close to that. It was all just golf. And then it was like, go here, and it just wasn't golf anymore. like put some breadcrumbs along the way, or maybe I missed it.
So you're telling me there's no Wario Waluigi shenanigans driving the story in this one?
There kind of is. They kind of show up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little
That's
bit.
fun.
It's just I think if you ever play it, I think if you've played it, you'll understand. Maybe I can't explain it correctly. It's a little loose. It's a lot loose. It's just loose. That's a better way of putting it. It's just loosely put together. And it made me wonder, like, were they doing like this hardcore golf thing? And they were like, we're not gonna finish. Like let's get some stuff in there, guys. So anyway, the campaign I actually had fun with. It was better than I thought it would be. It is not the RPG that people remember from the portable games. It never was going to be, but it's better than what I played of Aces. It's a lot better than that. So, for that, it's a plus. It is just a little weird. They drop you in this little open golf world. Think of like a 3D golf story. Like you're in like a little town. There's cottages. There's people hanging out. And you can walk around and talk to everybody. It's pointless. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to see. There's no side quest or items to find. Like, it's just one-liners. It's just one-liners. You can't even talk to like most people twice and get a different line. It's the same line over and over and over again. So after like the second place they plot me down on the mat, I just stopped. I just stopped even trying because like I'm not going to keep wasting my time if nobody's going to say anything. Yeah. For the challenges, there are challenges that you can get, like those little coach guys. They've got exclamation points over their head, so they're clearly marked like, hey, go talk to them. But there's like dozens of toads and stuff just hanging out for seemingly no point. Like there's just no purpose. They're just there. So kind of wishy-washy on the campaign. It's got its pluses and its minuses. I do have performance and texture issues to report. I didn't expect that.
I saw that one tweet that you posted where it was just completely grainy and pixelated.
Is real bad. Especially,
really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Rebecca. That picture was a picture of a me. Have you ever thought that you'd see a me that's like under resolution? I mean, it's just a me. So at the forest course, with all the rain and effects, that course takes a nosedive when you're playing that course. It just
golf. Why do they have issues? Come on.
I'm glad you said that, because that was I had somebody who was like, oh, it's not that bad. I'm like, it's a me. It's golf. Like
it was bad.
We're not rendering Breath of the Wild here, guys.
Yeah, it was what, a week ago?
Yeah, I think it was the day after.
Let's scroll back to all that.
You'd have to, yeah. So it takes a nosedive there. The Bowser course, we had a very fun laugh while we were streaming online together, because the textures of the Bowser's course look like they were ripped out of the Bowser map from Mario 64. Like just really, and it's got to be intentional. I feel like maybe they were trying to go for like a nostalgic play. It just doesn't look very good. It just doesn't look very good at all.
I know a lot of people have wondered if they got delayed / rushed by the pandemic, and that's why it's light on content. Do you feel like that's probably the case for some of these graphic issues as well? That's been my case since they showed their little demo like in April. I was like, this isn't the game that I was hoping for. And it just the course, it's that course specifically, the Bowser course, doesn't hold a candle to like the detail that was in Bowser's course on 3D World or World Tour 3DS. Yeah, World Tour looks nice. I've been playing the demo a little bit just to get a taste of it, see if I'm going to join the lunchtime golf tournament. And yeah, everything looks great on the 3DS. Yeah, and it was that course, they had all these flamethrowers, and it was just like very detailed and had different levels of grass and stuff like this. And the Bowser's course is pretty basic. Like it's in this version, Super Rush, it's pretty basic. It's pretty flat, and kind of expected more. So there are some performance issues, not a lot. If you're playing on like the opening courses and stuff, I didn't have any issues on those. It really wasn't until I got to that forest with the rain and stuff. Like, just turn the rain off. Like, at that point, like, if it's crushing the game that bad, you just don't have rain in the game right now. Tone it back. So yeah, I didn't like that. I'm still like I'm trying to build up to like my actual big gripe. I have one giant gripe with the game. Let's see here. I wrote down, it feels like a Wii Sports game. I actually think it would have been better promoted if it was a Wii Sports Resort. Like, it does feel like Wii Sports Golf with Mario characters in it. That's the best way to judge this game.
Like an underdeveloped golf game that would have been better in a bigger sports package. And
here's the thing. I love Wii Sports, but I value these two things very differently. Wii Sports comes with a connotation that it's a casual multiplayer type of experience. You're not going to take it too serious. You're going to, waggle the remote, play with your friends. Like, that is what this game is. Like, if you're just somebody, it's like, hey, I want to play with my friends, get this game. You'll have fun if you've got friends to play with. if you're just a casual person, you're not like super into golf, you've never really been into golf, you also might really like this game. If you want Mario Golf, you've played all the Mario Golfs. If you're like me, you're deranged, a little obsessive about your Mario Golf, this is not the game for you at all. This is the worst version of that ever. First and foremost, I hate the speed golf. I really, really hate the speed golf. It was fun for about 30 minutes. I started running, I got a groove, I started smashing people. I was like, okay, I get it, it's fun. And then I started realizing that all of my best shots I never saw. I have hit like 5 hole-in-ones. I hit an albatross I never saw, because you hit the ball and you immediately go running down the fairway and the ball goes in the hole and it just stops you. It's just like, that's it. You just freeze, go to the next hole. You don't get to see the shot. There's no instant replay. There's no highlights at the end of the thing. There's no option. I can't imagine. What? I had somebody was like, you can't have it both ways. It's like, I don't want it the first way. but
I mean, if they did have a highlight reel or a replay, like that would go a long way.
You can have it both ways. This is not asking for the moon. Put an instant replay feature in. How about an instant replay feature on all shots that are under par? That would tremendously help this game.
Yeah, I mean, because the mode itself feels, not being a golfer, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like it kind of flies in the face of golf. Golf is a game of precision. You take your time, you make sure your shot's just right. This is all about go fast, fast, fast. You're not trying to be as precise, but you could salvage some of that satisfaction of being precise and accurate by just, allowing somebody to look back and say, hey, I really nailed that and I was fast at it, not just, hey, I was fast.
Yeah, perfect response. There's half the campaign. My biggest issue with the campaign, actually, is half the campaign, the golf that you're playing is all about being fastest. It literally has nothing to do with your score. You could have a worse score than your opponent as long as you do it faster than they do.
Oh, sounds really? So chaotic.
It's not. It's not hard. I was beating people because they do an accumulative speed. So they keep a timer on you like over 18 holes. Over 18 holes, I was beating the other people by 10 shots. Not 10 shots. I'm sorry, 10 minutes. I'm 10 minutes faster than everybody else. Like, it's not close. But
like, you can just take like shot, like just like over and over.
Somebody put in the shot.
Oh, that's funny.
But yes, yeah, like I can't imagine. I played 9 holes of golf where I was beating this person, by 10 or 12 shots, but according to the tournament, they were 10 seconds behind me in second place, and I'm like, this is
wow,
that's really strange. Yeah,
it's very strange.
I mean, it at that point it almost feels like a different game, because golf again about low scores, not speed. So
call it Mario Tag. That's kind of like my shot that I've been taking at it on Twitter. It's like Mario Tag the game.
And I guess that's not inherently a bad thing, but when you advertise, hey, this is a golf game, then you expect it to play like golf. So I don't know. Fun. It could be a fun game, like rushing through it can still be fun. But I think it's one of those expectation issues where you expect a specific thing when you hear the word golf.
Yeah, it's clearly not what I wanted. And I mean, that's the only opinion I can bring you, right? My opinion isn't to bring the opinion of the masses. My job's to bring you my opinion. As somebody who devoutly loves Mario Golf, I've been looking forward to this game for 7 years. I've been talking about it on every other Nintendo Shack for 7 years. I'm very let down. Which brings me to my number one issue. And this is the issue that really puts the knife through the heart for me. This issue really jeopardizes whether or not I'll ever play this game, because I don't think they'll ever fix this issue, and I don't think that's going to make it better if they bring tournaments, if they let you cross-country tournaments, if they do online multiplayer leaderboards. Like, if they don't fix this issue, I'm probably not going to want to play. And that's that the mechanics are just too easy. The game is very easy to play. It took me about 13 holes before I figured out how to move the ball left and right, how to stop it, how to make it roll forward. And then once I did, it's really the mechanic. In golf games, traditionally, you have a power accuracy slider mechanic, right? You have a little 3-click system. People have done it differently. Some of them do like motion controls on the sticks, but it's always usually the same. You set power, you set accuracy. the whole point of golf, and I think this is like the traditionalist, is definitely the fact that I am a golfer. I'm bringing this to the table. I don't think many video game fans might agree with this. I think diehard golf fans, though, would. The whole point of golf is that golf is a game of misses. It's a game of inaccuracy. You're not supposed to be perfect. That's golf. You're supposed to manage your bad swings. There are no bad swings in Mario Golf, ever. Once I got it down, I hit perfect shots for 4 days. Like I never, like you never miss. You never miss. There's no inaccuracy. There's no bad shot. That's the problem. It's lacking the ability to be random. It's lacking an ability to go off the rails, to color outside the lines. That's the competitiveness of golf. Like once I got it down, and I think you can tell like that second day stream, once everybody else got it down, all of the scores suddenly become super close. You're talking the difference between one shot, right? 8, 9 under, 13, 12 under, like everybody's super close because it's easy. It's not hard to play. The greens are mostly flat. Outside of, I think the Bowser's course puts a little slope in it, but nothing like the greens that you play in Hot Shots Golf or Mario Golf on 3DS or PGA Tour 2K, which, by the way, PGA Tour 2K crushes this game. In like what it offered on day one, the modes, the online multiplayer, like what you can do, puts this game to shame. So if you're comparing it to other golf games, like in its genre, it really doesn't stack up if you're drawing those one-to-one comparisons. But the mechanics are very, very casual and they're very, very easy. And I think the greens, the reason that there aren't a lot of slopes and hills and undulations, because the entire game is focused on speed. You can't play speed golf if you need time to line up your shot. It got to the point where I wasn't even reading. You just look, does it go left or right? And you just go a little left or a little right and you just hit the ball. Because it's basically going to go in because almost every putt in the game lines up that way. There's not a whole lot beyond that to putting or the short game. I never really had to read the green when I was hitting a chip shot. Those types of, I feel it like advance. It's like if you're a casual player, you might love this. It might be the first golf game you've played that you feel good at. But if you're somebody like me who will play a golf game for 300 hours, there's no replayability there. There's nothing for me. Like I don't want to go back and play it. I've played it.
It sounds like they've added that they molded the courses to be around that specific mode, and then it sounds like that they only made, there's 6 courses on the normal mode,
6.
that they made those as like the easy courses, and then they just forgot to add the medium and hard courses.
Maybe. They would definitely need a lot of harder courses, but even then, like, how much fun is it going to be navigating a hard course if the swing meter stays the same and everybody just hits perfect shots all day? Because then it's a game of management, not a game of golf. It's basically like, do you risk trying to cut over the tree and like that costs you the match because you're one stroke off everybody else because everybody's hitting perfect shots? You know, like there's no, I don't know the right word. There's no like talent to it. There's no like, you're not mastering the swing because the swing is so easy. You know, like everybody's hitting that shot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like,
I think so.
The scoreboard.
I'm curious if you can like kind of compare it directly to the 3DS version, because that's, you know, what I've touched most.
I was
recently.
actually just about to say that. So we started the Lunch Club, which I want to plug that here in a minute. But if you look at the scoreboard of the Lunch Club, there are people that are 5 over, even, 2 under, 13 under. The scores range because Mario Golf on 3DS, the slider is not random, but it has speed, it has accuracy. I never hit a perfect shot 10 times in a row, right? Because you're off a little this way, you're off a little that way. You have to manage those misses. This game doesn't have that. That's not here. Because of their swing meter, it just kind of comes back up. And it honestly feels like it's almost on autopilot because I'm telling you, I felt like I was even trying to like, let me see if I can just hit it just a little off. You can't. Like it always just snaps into perfect accuracy.
Perfect spot, yeah.
The other part about this is also, this is the last thing I wrote down, character balance. If you've ever played a Mario Golf game before, there are pros and cons to playing with a character. If you want to play Yoshi, who hits the ball extremely straight, he's not going to hit it that far. If you want to play as Bowser, who crushes the ball, he's going to hit it 40 yards, hook. You have to manage that hook. Nobody does that in this game. Everybody hits it straight. The thing that seems to be the thing like in the stats is spin. They're like, this person can't spin the ball. But here's the thing. If you do the power spin shot, everybody can spin the ball. So that's really not, that's null and void. It doesn't matter. So there's no reason to play as anybody that can't hit the ball as far as possible, because you're just giving up an advantage. So like everybody should just play as Bowser and Donkey Kong because they're just better characters, because everybody just hits it straight. That is a problem, because this game should have balance. It's like Mario Kart. If everybody was...
I was just gonna say Mario Kart is the same thing.
Yeah, it's like if everybody just was locked in a speed and acceleration didn't matter, then you'd always play as the fastest character. Why would you not? This game has a lot of that, so the characters also really don't matter. I just played as my Mii. Also, I'm actually glad I said that, because I just remembered it. Another thing I didn't like about the single player is you do get to level up your Mii, but they they control what you get to level. So if you put all your power into one, they'll actively take it away from another. So they force you to basically balance it out, which I didn't like either.
At the end of it, you end up with just a level character to match the rest of the characters.
You might be a little
game.
off here or there, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And once you realize it, you're like, oh, this doesn't matter either. So
yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing.
It feels like they just gutted a lot of the nuance out of the game.
So with that being said, the mechanics, the golf part of it, makes this a game that I don't really want to replay. I will replay it. I don't regret it, because I do think this is maybe, because PGA Tour 2K is not like super great on Switch, I still think this is the best golf game on Switch. Like, if I'm just in the
Better than Golf Story?
Because it's like a real golf game, you know what I mean? You know, like,
Yeah.
I love Golf Story is a much better game, but it's a different kind of golf game.
It's an RPG.
For sure.
Right,
Sure.
right. So if I'm in a golf mood, I'm definitely going to play this. If I have my Switch, I'm going to pull this out and play it. But to segue to the Lunch Club, we just restarted playing on 3DS, and I was much happier to just go back to playing that, because it's just a better game. It's much better. So here's the deal, folks. PSVG, Nintendo Shack, we ran the Lunch Club Mario Golf tournament for, I think, almost 2 years every week. And then eventually folks started to fade off of it, as things do, and we stopped it. And we were waiting for this game to start it back up again, and this is not the game that we were waiting on. So we're going to do it on 3DS again. Here's the deal. I don't want to burn people out again. So I'm thinking of doing it once a month. I think once a month gives everybody some time. Everybody can play, but like, we're not playing it every week. It doesn't have to be a commitment that you have to commit to. So I'm thinking we'll do something like 10 or 12 day tournaments once a month and let everybody
Sounds
play.
pretty good.
So
gives you almost half a month to do it, half a month down, basically.
Yep, and you just play the one round. It takes 20 minutes out of your time, and you're locked in. And if you want to go chase the scores and you want to keep, because the thing that's really cool about Mario Golf is you get to post your score to the leaderboard, and then you can see what position you're in. And if you're not in first and you want to win, you can just go post another one. You just keep playing. I never do that, by the way. I committed to that.
Take the first one.
Scouts honor. When we started this, I said, here's what I'll do. I'll play one tournament. I'll do it first. I'll always post the score. You guys come beat me. Because I think it's a fun thing to let everybody try to jump up there. So we had a lot of people.
Look at that flex.
Hey,
Just
come get me.
I'm not good. Come
Beat the
dethrone me.
expert.
I think I'm in third or fourth
Be the
right now. I
pro.
think several folks have already passed my first score. I would tell you that first round back, it felt great again, because when I was playing on Mario Golf, I hit bad shots. It was not my best round. I posted 13 under, which a lot of people are like, that's crazy. That 13 under could have easily been 18. I left 5 or 6 shots out there, but I didn't pull them off. That's how golf's supposed to feel. That's how you're supposed to play golf. You're not supposed to just keep playing and keep hitting perfect shots all day long. It's boring. Honestly, it's boring. After 12 hours with the game, I was bored. Like Super Rush, I'm like, this is just not fun. This is boring. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's a bummer.
Somber note.
Well, maybe we can try to pick it up a little bit, because I've been thinking about this, hearing the discussions about some of the disappointment around Mario Golf, and I was kind of inspired by your conversation with Sean Capri on Sweet Hangs, because he started talking about, do we vote with our wallet on this one to try to show Nintendo, hey, we're not super happy with what you did, and you kind of went through the argument pretty quickly, but I think you took the side of like, yeah, I don't think not buying the game really tells them that we're unhappy with it. So I'm curious from both of you, what do you think is helpful from a consumer standpoint to help tell Nintendo, like, hey, we want more Mario Golf games. We like it, but we're not huge fans of this iteration of it. So keep bringing us Mario Golf, but do better next time. Like, what's the best way to convey that?
I think the scary thing is to take that logic forward. The scary thing is with the Switch's popularity and this game's lean to casual, what if this game outsells all of them? You know, like, because then we're going to get more of these games. And that's not what I want.
Switch games have been selling so well. And yeah, they might
Correct.
think, well, this is what they want.
I mean, I hope that if they see a surge in Mario Golf after this game releases on 3DS, maybe they'll be like, guys, we missed it here. I would love to see, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm not expecting it, but I don't think it's out of the possibility that Camelot might come out with an update and like, hey, we're tweaking the swing system. We're tweaking the way this is played. We're adding these characters. We're tweaking some of this balance. I hope they do. I want to say I think I remember them doing that for Aces. They tweaked a lot of characters after the game came out because I think they realized that players wanted more difference between the way the characters played, the way the game was played. And that's definitely what I'm wanting. And in PGA Tour 2K, for example, they've got the swing stick, but you can set different levels of difficulty to that. And if you want to play on the more popular tournaments that are online, like the Globe tournaments, you have to play it on hard. Like they lock you into playing that way. I would very much like to see something like that added to this game because without it,
that would be really cool.
Yeah, without it, it's just Wii Sports, and I love Wii Sports, but I love Wii Sports because it's Wii Sports. This is Mario Golf. It's not supposed to be Wii Sports.
It shouldn't be the same.
It's supposed to be better than that. This game, you know, I talked to you about it, it's kind of sluggish, and it's, you know, I talked a lot about its faults. This game also doesn't feel like it really lives up to the Nintendo quality level. Like it really feels like it's just a little unpolished. It just needs some more time. Yeah.
So do you feel like, you know, you buy the game anyways, and then you just are outspoken and critical about it and hope that Nintendo hears you and does something about it? Or
yeah. I mean, I think that Metacritic's got to say something. Like, if people stop playing it really quickly, that'll definitely say something. I mean, there's a reason that they added DLC and online and stuff to Mario Party, and there's a reason they're doing another one. It's because it sold well. They're seeing that people are playing it. So if this game just falls off the face of the planet and it stops selling and stops playing, then I think they'll get the message. But if it sells well, I mean, if the masses have it, and it's just not what I want, then I'm just SOL. There's nothing I can do about that. You know, I can only bring my own opinion. But Donnie's Year of Dreams is turning into Year of Disappointment because it sure feels like one after another. I'm just
misses already.
I'm just not getting what I was hoping for. I wanted this game so much, so long, so badly. I was going to play this game for 400 hours this year, and after 15 hours, I don't want to play it again.
I really hope that it is, and it shouldn't be this way, but I hope it is one of those things where at the end, when it has its final content update, that you can say, this is what it should have had to begin with. I'm finally happy with it.
That'd be great. I would love nothing more than come back to it. I'm rooting for it. I root for Camelot. I love Camelot. I buy all their games. So they know how to make good golf games. They've done it before. They've done it not just Mario Golf. They have a 2-decade-long history of doing it. So I can't imagine that they don't know this is a thing. They have to be aware. The question is it purposeful? Do they purposely slant this way for a reason? You know, because it does. It feels like I called it the cartification of a golf game. Like it feels like they were trying to take like a Mario Kart-like approach to this golf game. They're like, let's make it fun for everyone. And doing that dumb, you know, it just waters down the points that I like about it. So. Yeah,
it's interesting that they didn't try to do something like this as like Super Rush, specifically that mode. They didn't try to do that as more of a bonus mode to the game instead of making it the core mechanic of the game. It seems like a pretty big risk that they took with it.
I mean, they tweaked the entire game around it. I think they did the design of the courses, the way the game is played, the swing mechanic. I feel like it's all tailored for speed golf.
Well, fingers crossed for you that the content comes and it becomes something you want to play more. But yeah, that's disappointing. And I'll jump on the buy the DS version bandwagon if that shows them that this is a better game. We want more of this. I think that's a great
It's much
approach.
better. I'm telling you, like you get more courses out of the gate, and the DLC is only like $15, and it doubles the amount of courses in the game. So then it's like twice what you're getting on Super Rush. It's a better game. The other thing about
$30 digitally right now, I think is all.
It sounds about right. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
you
think
can
when I
pick
looked
up
the
a
other
used
day, it was-
copy for like $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So
it's-
yeah, you can get it for at least half the price.
Yeah.
Get a better game for at least
Not
half
bad
the
at all.
price.
I am really thinking about doing that.
Well,
I would love-
Rebecca, if you do it, I'll do it, and we'll join the lunch club.
I don't want to hog the mic anymore, but I have some more bad news to report. I think I'm bracing for a little blowback on this one. I played the Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo, and it struggles a little bit. It's not bad, but it struggles. Both
This is
handheld and docked.
cross-platform, right? Not exclusively Switch, or is it?
It's coming to
exclusive?
PC. I don't know if it's coming to PC day one, only because I haven't followed it that much. But I know it's coming to PC, but it might be delayed on PC.
Okay.
It struggles a little bit. It is the same Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is to say it's great. It's Pokemon and Monster Hunter. Like, it's fantastic. I don't know any better way to say this. I played it for about an hour, and I was just bored. And maybe it's just me, right? Maybe I'm just not in the mood or what. I don't know. But I played for an hour, and I was just like, I don't want to buy this game anymore. So I canceled my pre-order. I just
You don't think it's one of those, like, it's just a really slow intro?
maybe
kind
I
of
don't know.
games, is it?
I'm also like I'm trying to be a little more smarter about my money after AC and stuff, and I'm kind of squeezing from all ends. And I initially was going to pass on this game at launch because I have so much to play. I'm already building a backlog. There's already stuff that I'm playing, and Skyward Sword is barreling right at us. I know I was going to be putting this game off for Skyward Sword, so the fact that I wasn't just really into it right out of the gate, I was like, I just wait. You're right. Like, I may come back to it later, but for right now, let's just wait because I'm just going to play Skyward Sword anyway. So I canceled my pre-order, and I feel like that's going to make Ryan or Kaiju or Garrett upset, and I don't want to.
I think Garrett delayed his pre-order too, didn't he? Say that after that Target mishap,
Yeah, something
he
happened
put
with
his
his-
up. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're not the only one disappointing the listeners.
kinda
Donnie.
boring.
You have
It's
the
just
other
really-
brother in arms.
It's just really slow. Beautiful cutscenes.
That's
They're
too
still
bad.
there. The cutscenes are there. They do run at maybe 0.75 speed. Like they seem to be a little slow.
I feel like if that game doesn't click with you, it's kind of hard to get into.
And I liked the first one. I didn't finish the first one, but I think I played 10, 15 hours of the first one. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the money that I got out of it. But yeah, it wasn't clicking for me. And like I said, I'm just going to play other stuff anyway. I've got Scarlet Nexus. I need to get back to Biomutant. I got No More Heroes coming. Skyward Sword. Obviously, Skyward Sword's going to take a lot of time to beat. So I was just like, there's no point in forcing this and just having it sit there. I'm going to eventually, trade it in, like I do everything else. So I was like, I'll just cancel it. So
Yeah.
okay, I've said all my piece and hogged the show for 40 minutes. Rebecca, what did you do?
I really haven't been up to a whole lot gaming wise this week. I did beat Donkey Kong Country 2, which I had
nice.
started last week. I only had a little tiny bit left that I hadn't finished last week, so I finally finished that. I liked it a lot. It felt like there were more mechanics, that they were able to kind of put into the second game. They felt, they had mastered the first game and were able to kind of put more creative things for your characters to do in the second game. Really inspired levels, really pretty game. I liked it a lot. I said most of what I wanted to say about that game last week, but some really hard parts of that game. Like, I use save states on Switch Online because I would I don't have time
Don't
to play
feel
the
bad
level
about
hundreds
that.
of times. Like,
Yeah,
I know,
we're
and
not gonna
nobody
shame ya.
and I
Yeah,
streamed it.
that's
Nobody gave me
absolutely
grief
not.
for it. Like, it's just and I know people beat it back in the day without it, and I'm just like amazed
for them.
that they did. Yeah, honestly, because
I've always felt that
These
was kind of Donkey
are
Kong's
hard parts.
thing, is
Hard
that
parts.
it's platforming, but it ramps up a bit from Mario. Like when I buy a Donkey Kong, that's what I expect. Like let's
Yeah, you
ramp
expect
it up.
difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first, couple worlds or levels or whatever were very easy. I didn't have to use it too much, but by the end, like I felt like, first of all, figuring out what to do. Second of all, like even if I knew how to do it, just like the hitboxes are so close sometimes, like they're all over the place with that. Some of it felt a little bit unfair. Like I swear I made that jump on that minecart level, but it didn't register. Kind of things like that. I talked last week about the one really hard boss. I thought the final boss was easier than that one boss. But it was good. I feel like it was a good experience, just to say that I finally played that. And I do want to do the third game as well at some point. I'll probably wait a little while. But I mean, it's good platforming. I love the Super Nintendo. I do.
Tropical Freeze next.
You maybe. I don't have the save states to help me on that
You
one.
got Funky Kong though.
Yeah, I feel like
I could do
I haven't beaten Tropical Freeze, so I can't speak to the end, but at least the beginning, I feel like it wasn't as hard as some of
It ramps up.
DKC
Yeah,
2.
the beginning of this one wasn't that hard either.
That's true. That's
It
true.
ramps up.
So,
Yeah, it gets going there.
Because I feel like
it's pretty
back in the
tough.
day, like this isn't a long game, you know, if you can beat it, you know, if you're good at it and can beat it like without trial and error, it's not a long game. So I feel like back in the day they had to make it difficult like that because they couldn't make longer games back then. So that's that. But yeah, for Tropical Freeze, I played like I think the very beginning of that on the Wii U. I think I
Sure.
rented it from the library. And like you know me, like I'm not drawn towards platformers.
Yeah.
But for a game like that, like I want to play the classic games. Like I want to play the kind of the big title ones.
It's not like kick you in the teeth hard, but it's Donkey Kong. So like the very last level of like Mario U or something like that, you get that level in Donkey Kong like a third of the way through. Like you know, it just like speeds up your progression a lot. And I will say it. I mean, it's precise. Like Donkey Kong, you've got to be, especially because they'll move you a lot too, and they put you on carts, they put you in motion. Like you know, like you can't sit there and judge it all the time either. It's about timing and it's about memorization. But Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I mean, there's a reason why. When I think I don't want to spout its Metacritic. Maybe somebody in the chat can let us know. Chat's popping, by the way. I hadn't looked at it while I'm talking about golf, and I come over and there's like just a bunch of messages. Wow. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. But Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze had like 9s across the board. Like everybody loved the game. It's really, really good. So if you're in the mood and you're feeling it, like I can only wholly recommend it. It's beautiful too. It's gorgeous.
And that's the kind of game where I do want to, even if I don't beat it, like I feel like there's a lot of games where I don't feel the need to get to the end. I just want to play it and experience it and kind of see what it's all about.
Sure.
And I feel like that would be the case for me in Tropical Freeze. I did visit it, but I would definitely revisit it and play more. But yeah, I wanted to have it on me. I also got what Garrett bought a few weeks ago, that Retroid Pocket 2
Ooh.
with a little
Very
device.
nice.
I'm so glad that I got that. I feel like it is such a cool little toy here. It is, and Garrett said all this, so I'm really just going to be repeating what he said, but I see what he means. Like, you do have to tinker with it a little bit to set it up and get the settings right, because the settings aren't very intuitive. They're not very user-friendly. Like, you really want to go in there and kind of change it to the way you want to
I
be
hate that
it,
with
like
stuff
you
like
want it
that.
to be. Yeah. It doesn't really come ready to, like, just load up with ROMs and get going. You can, but you will have to kind of fight with it a little bit.
That kind of surprises me because being like a contained unit, this is designed specifically to emulate games. You'd think they'd put a little bit more effort into
Like
making
you can,
it more
you
plug and
can.
play.
It's just kind of a headache if you don't change the settings to what you want them to be.
Right.
But I did all that. I went through. I was patient with it, and I'm so glad that I did. Because it's such a cool thing. Like I feel like I always forget how much I love the handheld gaming part of it. Like I just value being able to like lay in bed and play, games. And I have my 3DS, but obviously there's some stuff on there that you can't get on Virtual Console and whatnot. And like I'm honestly, to be honest with you, I'm playing a lot of games that I've played before. Like I'm not playing new stuff on this.
That's
I'm just
okay.
kind of revisiting some Game Boy Advance games and some Super Nintendo games and whatnot.
I go through that. I go through that.
Hacks and
I mean, you guys have heard it. I go through that. I don't want to say annually, but it's more than that. There's several periods of the year I'm just like, man, I'm going to replay something. I like that comfort food. It's like, you know what? I love this game. I know I love this game. I don't know about that new game right now. So I'm going to play this game that I know I like. I played Doom Eternal this week. I almost beat the game last year, and I just booted up again, and I played it for 4 hours. I didn't just boot it up, look at it, and turn it off. I sat there and kept playing. It's like, this game's great.
I don't know how much that
It is
compares
very
as old
comforting.
game, but
Well, of course, but
yeah, for
It's
sure.
comforting to go back to games that you've played before.
I mean, how many times do I play The Last of Us? It's like annually at this point.
I was hoping that N64 games would run on it. Apparently, N64 emulation is not all that great. I've heard that it's not just on this thing, that it's in general.
It's
so
pretty consistent.
yeah. So I probably won't be doing too much on that. I put a PS1 game on it, Chrono Cross, which I've never played before, but I want to play. And it seems to be running well. That one seems to be working okay. And that's a game where I feel like and I don't emulate games unless I feel like there's not another way modern to play them, because this game has not been re-released. It's the only way you can really play it is on a PS1 or PS3. And I don't have that's not an option. So I don't want to play it on this, but I probably will, because it's probably not going to get re-released. but it works. So it's a fun toy. I like it. And the battery life is not bad.
That's good.
So
That's good.
yeah.
Thumbs up from both of you.
Yeah, thumbs up. I like it. If you're willing to, I think I'm spinning word for word what Garrett said, but if you're willing to kind of do the work to get to the way that it should be, or the way that you want it to be, it's worth it.
So you know what I'm gonna do?
Oh, it's only $8.
I'm gonna send Garrett some Game Pass codes and be like, "Can you just do this? Just send it to me." It's what it worked for my Vita. I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. You do it, and then I'll play it.
Yeah. It took me a good while to do it, because I just was afraid of, I followed a YouTube video step by step, and it took a couple hours.
Is it harder than the Super Nintendo Classic?
No. No.
Okay. Because that was about as much as much energy as I wanted to give something like that.
Yeah, no.
I watched the video, it's that doesn't seem too hard, but if there was just 3 more steps of oh, never mind.
I wouldn't
just
do it.
Screw it. Just never mind.
I mean, it's I think, and I forget all the process for that, but I think it was longer to do. But if you can follow directions, you can't really mess this up.
Oh, I
It was
flashed the
longer
Super
to do?
Nintendo in 20 minutes. It wasn't that long.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no, this was definitely longer then.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
it took
surprising
a
to
while,
me.
Yeah, once you
And
figured it out,
it's
because you
optional, you don't have to change the button mappings and stuff to be what you want it to be.
Well, that's a mess. Yeah, on the Mini Classic, it's I had a USB stick formatted. You dump the kernel, you save it, and then you just reboot it and you load it back up. I was like, it's not too bad. And that's the peak of my effort for this. That's top of the line,
Yeah. Hacking. I think the SNES Mini is one of the easiest ones I've done, because I've jailbroken iPhone in the past. I've done the Wii U. I've done the 3DS. I've done the SNES Mini. And I think, SNES Mini is probably the easiest of that bunch that I've messed with.
Yeah. Yep. Before we get into the news, Steven, you got any games you've been playing? Anything you want to chat up?
So I have just been over the moon about Metroid Dread since was announced. Yeah, leading up to E3, I had really been craving some kind of Metroidvania, so I booted up Hollow Knight again and had been kind of chipping away at that. For my second time. What's that face for, Donnie?
So hard. I want to love that game so
still
much.
A thorn in your
I want to
side.
love that game so much. That game, I need an easy mode. I would be so over the moon if Hollow Knight was here's an easy mode for all of you that aren't as good as everybody else. Thank you.
Maybe you'll get that in
Save
Silksong
states.
if it ever comes out.
Can I play Hollow Knight with save states, please? It's so hard.
But anyway, so I was playing through that, and then I only get a couple hours in, and E3 hits and Metroid Dread, so that instead sparked me down the path of replaying all the old Metroid games. So I recently finished. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I recently
see,
finished
everybody doing that
Fusion.
Right now.
Yeah, I think it ignited the whole community basically. So I played through Fusion. I'm an hour away from beating Zero Mission right now. I for kicks messed around with the Fusion difficulty level on Samus Returns, and I cannot recommend that to anybody. Nobody should play Samus Returns on Fusion difficulty. Hollow Knight's hard. Samus Returns on Fusion difficulty is insulting. You die in 2 hits to everything. It doesn't matter what it is. You get hit twice. You get 1 warning shot, and then you die. So it's not as fun. So I
like the box
took
art
it
quote.
down to hard mode.
Fusion's insulting.
not the Fusion game, just the Fusion mode.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was no joke.
Can I
so I've
play-
been having a lot of fun with Metroid right now.
Can I play any of those GBA games on my 3DS?
I'm not sure if it's on Virtual Console or not. If you have the Ambassador
Zero
one.
Mission, I think, is Ambassador. Do you have the Ambassador 3DS? No.
No.
I
mean, if you
So I'd
if you have
have to play it on Wii U.
If you have a hacked 3DS, then yes, you can play it.
I do have a hacked 3DS.
Well, yeah, you should be good to go then.
Oh, well, we may have to talk. I don't know if it's on there.
Yeah,
yet.
People were saying how I think the conversation was coming up how hard it is to play these games, if you're trying to catch up with the series, you pretty much have to have a Wii U.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have a
Or an
Wii U,
Ambassador
you can
3DS.
play every single Metroid game with a Wii U.
And I do have a Wii U. I just have to go sit in my son's floor to do so. And that might be a road too far.
Yeah.
like,
So I loaded both Fusion and Zero Mission on my 3DS. As well as you could put them on the SNES Mini if you want the big screen too. That's another option.
Nice.
So yeah. If you want, hit me up. I'll help get you set up.
I got a guy.
Well worth the playthrough. I know people aren't a huge fan of Fusion, but I really like Fusion. It's a fun game. If you can get over the linearity of it, it's a really good Metroid game. So I was really happy to go back to that.
I can't remember if I finished it when it came on Wii U or not. I remember when it came on Wii U, I definitely bought it and played it. I have that vision in my head. I don't know how much I stuck with it.
Yeah, it's good. I'm really happy that Dread's building off of that, because I think Fusion has one of the most interesting story arcs of the series. So it'll be really fun to see where they take that and what they can do with both the Metroid and the X Parasite. So yeah,
Still
just
gotta play Fusion.
exciting stuff. Yeah, because you've been going through the series, right? Is that the only one you haven't hit so far?
No, sort of. So my history with Metroid is a little odd. I started with Super Metroid. Then I played Prime 1. Then I played Zero Mission. Now I'm on Prime 2, and then this got announced. So I'm gonna finish Prime 2, and I have Samus Returns. So I'm gonna play that on 3DS and then go to Fusion. I might try Other M.
See, mine's completely different. I think I did Super Metroid, the Prime trilogy, Other M, and then like Fusion when it came out on Wii U, and
Wow.
then Federation
Did you not play
Force
Zero
and
Mission?
Blast Ball. No.
I love Zero Mission. And that one's such a good entry. Like, I feel like that's a good starting point for people who have never played 2D Metroid before.
For sure, I'd agree with that.
It's very easy.
It's short too.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I beat
I
it in like
think-
1 or 2 sittings.
Yeah, I only get like 20 minutes or something with my newborn daughter, but I think I've only spent about 2 hours in game time with it, and it's basically done already.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I never played it.
Yeah. So if you want a quick short one, Zero Mission's a great one.
Yeah, really good.
I'll take that under consideration.
Easy.
See here.
Yeah, that is my one complaint with Zero Mission, is it's a pretty easy one. With the exception of the mother brain fight, I think you can kind of breeze through most of the game.
I don't even remember. I mean, I'm sure I struggle with it. I probably use save states, but like I don't remember it coming out of it thinking, wow, that was hard.
I mean, that was one of my favorite things about Fusion in comparison is, while, yeah, the game's linear, it's got some good difficulty when it comes to bosses. Some of them are still simple, but I think overall it has just a good difficulty arc through the bosses on it. So,
Cool.
anyways, just excited. Metroid.
Get
Very
excited.
excited. Speaking of, how do we support franchises, get them to buy more?
Buy
I
2
love how
copies.
everyone's going back and buying
Yeah.
it on the Wii U, or buying 2
Yeah.
copies, or buying on the 3DS.
Get the
Great to see.
amiibo, buy all of it.
Yep.
Buy as
Man,
much as you can.
The day that came out, I don't think I worked for a whole half day. I was just hitting F5 on all the browsers trying to get some site to go live.
I remember I told my boss that, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, the first year I took off for E3. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be here. He's like, you're just going to... My boss he's really, I call him nosy. He's just very inquisitive, right? So you tell him something, he wants to know everything about it. He couldn't be like the further from how I usually address things. And I remember he's like, so you just sit at your computer and watch them announce video games? And I remember like his questioning almost made me feel bad. He's like, so like, can you play them? Like, no.
Oh.
He's like, what did you just see them? I was like, yeah, like commercials. He's like, you sit there and you like,
Well, when you say
Watch.
commercials, that makes it sound worse.
that's the only thing he knows, it's like a trailer, like movies. He's like, but that's it? You just watch? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you watch them play the game? I was like, sometimes. It just make you feel bad. It make you really question your responsibilities in life. I'm like, look, either you let me have the day off, or I'm just gonna sit there and do it at work. Either way, work's not getting done. So that's on you, man. Boy, we're over an hour, so let's be quick. Mr. Sakurai had his presents where he presented Kazuya and other Smash Bros. Info. I did scrub through it and watched it because I host a Nintendo show, and I couldn't have been more bored. I have no fanfare for this anymore. Challenger Pack 10 includes the Mishima Dojo, 39 tracks from Tekken alongside Kazuya. The dojo looks cool. It's a very flat level. It doesn't have all the floating platforms. You can like break the sides and stuff. Like I give it that credit. There were new Mii Fighter costumes announced.
I just want to say I feel like it's gotten to the point where people are not excited for the Mii costumes. They're dreading it because they do not want their favorite character to be in
Talk
there.
about insulting. We have Mii costumes for Lloyd, Dante,
Rip.
Shantae, and Dragonborn.
Rip. Oh, see, okay, this is probably my fighting game ignorance speaking out, but just to me, personally, I feel like all 4 of these characters would make more interesting fighters than the one that we got.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a casual like Smash fan, well, from a casual fighting game fan standpoint, I would agree that all those characters I think kind of fit better with the stereotypical Smash character. I do think that for those who are big fans of Tekken, like Terry Bogard and Kazuya and all that are great additions. And I watched the Sakurai Direct, and I think they did an incredible job of adapting this character. But I have no nostalgia or attachment to Tekken. So as much as I love Smash and as much as I still play it today, it doesn't move the needle much for me. And I agree with you, Rebecca. I saw those and I was like, oh darn, that would have been really fun. Like, oh, Dante could have been really cool. Dragonborn would have been really fun. And
as for Tekken does deserve its spot in Smash. I
think it's
that.
really cool
agree.
that it's in.
I agree. I'm just talking about interesting fighters.
Yep.
Interesting.
Shout out to Pale Gut Tony. He says, I just got here from playing Smash, and man, his Kazuya is incredibly broken. So I did not play it up. I did not boot up the game. I'm not going to. I don't want to.
I wanted to before the show so I could talk about it, but I didn't get a chance to.
Some folks apparently think that it's totally fine for Shantae to be a Mii fighter. Just know, Thrak, that I completely disagree with you. I thought that was insulting to see Shantae's character as a Mii fighter. That was awful. Yeah. So
who knows? Maybe a year from now, after the dust has settled and we are all disappointed by the final character, maybe then we can be happy that people like Shantae are in it at all.
I feel like everybody,
but right now it just hurts.
Everybody for 3 years that I've proposed being included that would be exciting, they've all been Mii characters. And not even good ones at that. Not even good Mii characters. They're bad Mii. There are good Mii characters. These aren't it. These are bad. And you know what? Dante's not awful. Dante is okay. The rest of them are not great. Dragonborn is a decent looking Mii fighter. See, that makes sense.
I have to say the Shantae one, I don't feel like looks as good as the other ones. Like they've done a good job with Mii fighters, but the Shantae one looks like an afterthought. Like here you go, intern. Like here's your summer project.
That's correct. Yep. That is the correct way.
Which is a shame because she would have been a cool I know
Very
it's a
unique.
big deal for an indie character to be in Smash at all, but could you imagine if she was a fighter?
She deserves it. This sucks.
Yeah.
They showed a new Min Min amiibo.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They showed a new Min Min amiibo that'll be out in 2022 sometime at the end of the year. So pre-order that for the next 18 months.
They've been really slow with these Smash amiibo.
Oh yeah. They come out 2 years after announcement. Yeah, slow is the right word. Before I move
Donnie.
on, I cut you off. Is there something else you wanted to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, as someone who I don't know who else I want in Smash, it is a little unfortunate that you
Make
see
it stop.
the Mii costumes, and it's like, oh darn, like I didn't necessarily want those, but those would have been exciting to see.
Please just make it stop. Just end this. End this. Not
We're
like this.
almost done, Donnie. You're almost free, and then Sakurai can retire, and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Donnie, we have some breaking news that Nintendo tweeted. A free update is available for Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, random.
So if you're wondering about if they're making a new Mario Kart, at least they're working on free updates for Home Circuit.
Does it say what the
Is
update
it a good update?
Maneuver through oil slicks, turn your home into a jungle, and dodge incoming barrels, and try not to be slowed by roaring dinosaurs in this new Mario Cup and Grand Prix mode.
Man, we gotta have dinosaurs and dragons in all the Mario now.
That's true.
Finish within third place in the Mario Cup, and you'll unlock a new Yoshi-themed cart.
That's cool.
But do they have a physical Yoshi cart? Because that would be interesting.
That would be cool.
I'd buy it.
Yeah, no, this does not get me to pull out. I have it sitting over there all folded up in a corner.
We
not doing it.
We played it last week.
Yeah.
We don't play it often. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you we play it all the time, but maybe like once a month or so, the kids are like, "Can we play Mario Kart?"
Nice.
I'm like, "Yeah, let's." See, they hate that I make them sweep and mop first. I'm like, "We gotta clean. Like, you gotta clean the
Yeah.
Hey, you
clean the
can't gum
house."
up the tires.
Right. And I was like, "You clean, we'll set it up." But we still play it. I'm not upset that I have it. Like, I like it. At the very least, they look great on a shelf. It's a really cool toy.
Yeah, that's where I have mine on the
They look great on the shelf. So, Streets of Rage 4's DLC is out in 2 weeks. It costs $8. You will get Estelle Max Shiva, new music and weapons, custom move sets, color palettes, a training mode, and a survival mode for those of you that like the harder way of life. I'm excited. Be excited. Streets of Rage 4. Can't wait. Last night, Nintendo held its general meeting for shareholders, including a Q&A. There was a whole lot of not news in this that I know all the blogs ran with today, because that's what they got to do. Like, I don't fault them for it. That's what they got to do. The only thing that I took that I even thought might even be somewhat newsworthy is they did actually speak. They were asked about mini consoles. Like, a shareholder was like, "Hey, what do you think about doing more mini consoles?" And I love the way that whoever presented the question, I don't know if it was a journalist or shareholder, whoever presented the question, I love the way they presented it, actually, because they were like, "Why don't you do this? This is a great way of bridging the gap to like lapsed older Nintendo fans that just want that bit of nostalgia. Like, that's hot right now. Like, why aren't we doing this?" And they didn't blow it off. They said that they'll continue to examine the possibility of doing classic consoles and, Nintendo Switch on. They gave the marketing answer, but they didn't just say like,
I remember they said we have no plans at this time.
That's what I was going to say.
The wording.
I remember
Reggie
Reggie specifically like crushed my dreams with this one year, because he was like, "This is something we did for a limited period of time that we wanted to do for a limited edition, and that's it." Like, he was very final about it. He was like, "This is never going to happen again." So if you were looking for some kind of hope that we might get some sort of classic edition something in the future, I think there's at least a glimmer of hope here. I think a Game Boy Classic makes a lot of sense, but it sounds expensive. Sure. But I also think they could actually sell it. Like, you could do a Game Boy Classic with 20 or 30 games and sell it probably for $130.
The thing with that is I feel like you need Pokemon on it to sell it, and I don't know if the Pokemon company is going to do that.
I think they would. I think Nintendo has enough stroke to at least pull an old one.
Yeah.
I think they could do Pokemon Red, or at least one.
Yeah, I think for sure they could.
I think because they had it on Virtual Console, that's a hint that they could.
Yeah, I mean, they own a stake in the company. It's not just Pokemon Company's decision either. I think if Nintendo wanted to do it, I think they could. I think they could.
Yeah. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse by saying it, but it just doesn't make any sense that Nintendo's not capitalizing more on their old franchises.
It's easy money.
See all the other companies remaking games, porting games, like giving access to old games, and Nintendo's just not doing it. It makes no sense. No sense at all.
Okay. Let's take a minute here and discuss. I think it makes some financial sense. It makes some good preservation sense. I think you're seeing this right now a lot with Square Enix and like Final Fantasy. People are saying the same thing. They're like, "Why isn't this on Switch?" It makes no sense. It does make some sense. They know that you want to buy them on Switch. Like, they know that people would want to buy a Game Boy Classic or N64 Classic. They know that money's there. So there's some sense to be like, let's not burn it. Like, let's save it for a rainy day. Like, what if the next Wii U comes out in 4 years? It's like, hey, N64 Classic, guys, forget about that. There is that kind of like in their back pocket, and I'm not trying to defend them. I agree with you. Like, Nintendo Switch Online should be much better. I have for a long time postulated that I think Nintendo Switch Online shouldn't be locked to the Switch. Nintendo Switch Online should be on PC. It should be on streaming, on TV, on phones. You mean to tell me you can't get Donkey Kong and Tecmo Bowl on phones? Like, put that damn thing on phones and let people give you $20 a year. Like, that is so much easy money. That is so much easy money.
Could you imagine a $20 a year service where you just have all that stuff on your phone?
That's where I've always thought they were going. That's where I always thought they were going with it. And like, they come out with a little Razer Kishi like Nintendo thing that you put your phone in, and you sit there and you can play. That's easy money for them. But there's a reason why they're not doing it, and I think their reason is, if I was to speak for them, I think their reason is they want to do that, but they want to do it when the timing's right, and they want to make sure that they're not jeopardizing their current stuff. They want you to buy a Switch.
When the time is right. I feel like the time is right. Like, I don't know. You don't know when the next thing is going to come along, and we're not doing
right.
our phones anymore.
I mean more in the case that they're printing money. They're printing money right now, hand over fist. They don't want to give you a reason to not buy a Switch. They want to give you a reason to buy a Switch. They don't want to give that 35-year-old person who just wants N64. They don't want you to just get the classic. They want to keep you. They want to buy you as a customer. That's more valuable to them.
But to that argument, it's still surprising to me that they haven't added something to Nintendo Switch Online.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, they're not going to go the phone route because they want to funnel you into their ecosystem. Sure, great, I get that. But man, especially with the pandemic and everything, you'd think that they could have dropped GBA games or N64 games, or just, opened up Virtual Console to buy games if it's not going to be part of Nintendo Switch Online.
Yep.
Like, of all the times, is the time right for it? Like, sure, they're making tons of money on the Switch, but man, what an incentive for people who maybe haven't jumped on is if they did add those. So
and I only say that
it's still confusing to me.
I only say that the only time they really dipped into that hard was when they were kind of on the canvas, right? And they needed to pick themselves up, and they kind of smashed glass and pulled the emergency button.
That's true.
I think that's why that's there. It's just easy money. When you deal like Nintendo and you're a billion-dollar company, you don't need to maximize every profit you can in one calendar year. Like, you're trying to protect your business a little.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That gets us to questions. Rebecca, take it away.
All right. Is this first question a serious question?
I didn't even read them.
Kyle had written in on Discord,
Oh.
Why did I have a dream last night that Elias Thompson hacked into Rebecca's webcam and hijacked the show just to interrupt Donnie to talk about Metroid the whole show?
I mean, I'm not
Hey,
opposed
that
to
almost
having a...
happened. Isn't that what I'm here for?
Yeah.
I just came here to talk about Metroid. So.
I'm not opposed to
There you
having a
go.
Metroid-only show. That sounds amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah,
That would be
bring
awesome.
me back when Dread comes out. I'd love to talk
It's going to
about
be
it.
so much fun.
Brendan says, would you like some of the bigger games like GTA get back to their roots and go back to the isometric games like the original GTA and bring them to the Switch? Or would it be better to have the actual GTA 5 game?
I love GTA. It's one of my favorite franchises. I do prefer the open world 3D versions, but I like the 2D versions. So, I mean, I'm just going to ride the fence here, and I like both. I liked it when they were doing both. I wish they would just keep doing both.
Is there like a big scope difference between the isometric ones and the open world ones? Like, is it
They're
a shorter
smaller.
game or
Yeah,
smaller
they're
scope?
smaller.
Yeah, as someone who I like bite-sized games. Don't get me wrong, I still want, Breath of the Wild 100-hour games from time to time, but I really like bite-sized games. So even though I'm not a fan of a big fan of GTA, I think the idea of a slightly more bite-sized version of a game is always appealing.
And that's what they
So
did.
I'd be all for it.
It worked with portables, right? They did PlayStation Portable, Vita, DS. I mean, Chinatown Wars was awesome.
I was just going to say, isn't that one on the DS?
Yep.
What's it called?
Chinatown Wars.
Chinatown Wars. Isn't that the highest rated DS game, period?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was. It was very
I'm
good.
pretty sure it is. I think if you go on Metacritic right now, somebody listening, go on to Metacritic, type in highest rated DS games. I think that is number one.
It's very good.
If I'm remembering correctly.
It's very good.
I haven't played it. I like those top-down kind of games, so I would be all for that.
But my favorite ones are 3 and Vice City, and I'm still shocked that they're not on Switch. I don't get it. I've bought them on every platform that I think they've ever been available for, and I would love to play them on my Switch. So.
The GTA 5, that would have to be through streaming or a pro. I assume it wouldn't run on.
I've gone for a long
Didn't
time.
you say that they brought it to mobile?
Not GTA 5. That's
not 5.
That's
That
the
was a
old
different
ones.
one.
They have GTA 3.
I remember you talking about some.
They have
old
GTA
one, yeah.
3, Vice City, and San Andreas available on mobile, and the mobile editions are amazing. They're already running on Android. They're Android kit.
So it'd be really easy to get it over.
The port job from Rockstar would be nothing. Like they could put these on Switch today if they wanted to. And I mean, I'm not lying. If they put GTA 3 on Switch, it would be at the top of the sales list for 6 months. Like it would be way up there. It would definitely chart. It would be way up there, I imagine. The series is just so popular. So I don't know why they're not doing it. I hope it's because they announce a collection. That's always been my hope, is that they announce a collection.
They are confirming that it is the top rated DS game.
Yeah,
Oh.
good call.
Number 1 with 93.
It was very
I
good.
remember reading that at
I would
some
like to
point.
see another
Yeah,
one.
I want to play it. Cool. Michael Cooksvara says, thoughts
Cosvara.
on Cosvara.
You're not the only one. I've done it too. Everybody on the internet has.
It's Vara. It's V, right? Vara.
No, I think it's like
No?
Kozwara.
No, well, the Americanized W. In Polish, it's a V.
Okay. Well, I take your credit for it, but the last time he was on the show, I said it, and he said I got it right, so that's
Okay,
that's all I can
that's
go
fair.
with.
Anyway, Michael wants to know thoughts on Nintendo Land. Would you want to see a sequel or
Yes.
some kind of modified release on Switch?
Yes.
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 There's
Probably
no
too
question.
complicated to try to
Absolutely.
minimize the gamepad use. He
All the
says.
Nintendo Land.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Nintendo Land. That was one of the first games I got for the Wii U, and yeah, I don't see how they could realistically do a straight port or modification of it, considering there was such heavy use of the gamepad.
I think if you really, really wanted to, you could make it work with 2 systems, but I don't think they'd want to sell it to you
I
if
don't
it
know. I don't
required
think
2
so.
systems to work.
Yeah.
I think you can make it work. Not everything,
Really?
obviously. There's some certain things you can, but I think you can make it work, but it'd have to be online multiplayer based.
Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't
yeah, if
it
it was
be-
online only, like bring it to Nintendo Switch Online, let people download it. You only play online.
But you get to play with
Amazing.
your friends,
That
and like
works.
you
Yeah,
could
okay,
do
that works.
Chase
Amazing.
Me.
I love
You
that.
could do Chase
Yeah.
Me online. If you could play
Yeah.
online multiplayer, you could do Chase Me. You could do
You
the
could do
Luigi
the
game.
Luigi's Ghost. Yep.
Yep, you could play- you could do the Link's
the
game.
Animal Crossing one.
Yep. You could
Yeah.
do the Zelda game. I cannot tell you how excited I would be. I say this every time somebody says Nintendo Land on my Twitter. I want that damn Donkey Kong kart game on the Switch. I would give them $15 for just that. Just take that game out and let me play that game. I love that game. It was like my favorite thing since the original Donkey Kong. I can't tell you the amount of hours I spent trying to get that stupid little cart down the little maze without popping the bubble.
Yeah, we actually
Cut.
booted up Nintendo Land on Sunday, and I'd forgotten that my brother had borrowed it and played it for a while, and he had spent so long on that cart game that it like rates it as which games you've played the most.
It's
And it
addictive.
had like 100 plus on it, and everything else was like 20 times that we had played it.
So damn good.
In college, me and my non-gamer friend played a ton of whatever the Pikmin multiplayer game
Oh,
was.
yeah, that one's a good
she
one,
was
too.
really into that. So that was cool. And that was
what
kind
a
of
good
my
way
first
to introduce like non-gamers
Yeah.
to Nintendo franchises
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It's like you want a little
we like the Animal
bite-sized,
Crossing one, too.
cooperative, multiplayer, couch fun version of this game. Like, brilliant. Absolutely.
Yep,
Bring back
yep.
more Nintendo Land.
I was gonna say that I didn't think that they would be able to do a modification of it. It seems like it would be just as much work than to just make a whole new game. But
Probably.
you kind of convinced me on the online part of it. Like if they did.
If they
go
did,
that
I
route.
do think it would be a new game, and I think they would build off those concepts and they try to make their own thing, like a solo Switch. A solo Switch Nintendo Land doesn't make as much sense. They had some solo games. They'd have to do more of those. They'd have to have more micro games, and at that point, you're getting close to Mario Party Land. But I would love those. I was thinking, I was listening to what you were saying, but as you were talking, I was thinking, I was like, what a legacy for that game. That game was universally panned when they first showed it. I'll never forget. Everybody was just like, what the hell is Nintendo? Like, this is stupid, cartoony fair thing with the Mii's. The Mii's are back. Everybody hated the Mii's. And I don't think I know a Wii U owner that didn't love that game. Like, that was a game that when you played it, like, you got it. It was so much fun. There is no multiplayer games. There's not a lot of multiplayer games that are like that. It's like Fall Guys-ish. Like, when you played those multiplayer games, they were so much fun. They were so simple. That ghost game with the Luigi's and you can't see where the ghost is and just pops out of nowhere, that was always like a Jack in the Box for Jack, no pun intended, but like Jack would always freak out. I'd catch him, and I remember one time he's just like threw the controller. He'd always get scared. The Chase Me game we would play endlessly. I did the entire Zelda thing with my kids. And that Donkey Kong game, I have lasting memories of
I
the
don't
Donkey
remember
Kong
the
game.
Donkey Kong one. I'm gonna have to check that out again because
It's
I
by
forget.
far my
I'm
favorite
sure
one.
I played it, but I don't
So you got a
remembering
little
it.
cart. It was like a little triangle, had a little bubble on it, and if the cart fell over, the bubble broke. And you had to turn the gamepad, spin the gamepad, use the sticks to raise levers. You could blow.
Was the perspective you were in the cart?
It's
No,
kind of
Or
like
it
you're
was
looking at
2D?
like a pinball, like a vertical pinball machine almost, and you're like
I gotta
traveling
Google
from the
this. I
top down to the bottom.
And you could blow
and you
to, like,
travel
raise
in
lever,
a
you go-
horizontal plane.
I gotta look this up because I don't remember.
It's very.
I mean, imagine a Donkey Kong Country minecart level, but like a small arcade version of that.
It reminded me-
but it's
remember
not
playing this
side-scrolling.
at
It's all
all.
one view. You can see the whole
Yeah, I see
course
it.
in one view.
Yeah.
It reminded me
See,
a
I don't
ton
remember
of like
playing it.
Donkey Kong, like the arcade game. Like it has a very similar aesthetic, and it was like arcadey in that way. It was like traversal, try to get to the end of the level, and it was tough actually. It's challenging. You keep going. I loved it. That game was addictive. We spent way too long just doing that.
Cool.
Bring it back,
Yeah,
Nintendo.
I like Nintendo Land. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jared says, do you think Nintendo needs to reevaluate how they price some of their games after Mario Golf, or should they stop releasing games unfinished until more of the updates are available at launch?
This is a trendy opinion lately, isn't it? I got this with Sean on Sweet Hanks, and I pushed back on him. I don't think this is a Nintendo thing. And I've seen people on Twitter and I've heard on podcasts, they're like, this is just Nintendo now. It's like, I don't think so. I'm not saying that they don't. There are some examples where they have. But there are way more examples of them not, I think, than they do. There's way more examples of them releasing completely finished games. But also, I mean, it is a part of the times. Like, people have just got to adapt to it. I mean, we've been doing this for 8 years now. If anything, Nintendo was late to it. I mean, how many other people release games and they just continue to patch on top of it? That's not something they should be shamed for. That should be celebrated. Like, no longer are games just broken. Like, that's a great thing that we have this ability to do this now. So I don't think that they need to change. Well, I don't want to sound like a shill. I don't want to just defend them on this. They're never going to reprice their games. Like, that seems to be a thing with Mario Golf that people stick on. It seems to be the thing that Metroid sticks on. I saw that going around too.
The two Metroid opinions.
Look,
Goodness gracious.
The price of the game has nothing to do with how long it takes you to beat it, or how long it took them to make it. It has nothing to do with the price of the game. The price of the game is dictated by the market and whether or not you will pay for it. Guess what?
Yeah.
Most people will pay for Nintendo IP in a game. Period. Whether you personally do or not, that's your personal decision as a buyer. But I'm telling you, if you're thinking, I'm not going to buy Mario Golf at $60, so they'll lower the price, they're not. They won't. It's not going to happen because it's got Mario on it.
Have inconsistent pricing across their first-party games.
That devalues their brand. It's not that Mario Golf is worth $60. That's not the point I'm trying to make. It's that you can't devalue Mario Golf because that in turn devalues Odyssey and 3D World and everything else they do. Like, they can't do that.
Don't forget, they have other first-party games that are selling for less than $60. The upcoming WarioWare is $50.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yep. They have played with it a bit, but typically they have a premium on their games, and that's a part of their core philosophy. That's not them just taking your money. They believe that their games are valuable, that their IP are valuable, so they hold their value. That's why you don't see them race to the bottom. That's why 3 weeks later you don't pick up Mario Golf for $13 like you do Ubisoft games, because they don't want to do that because it devalues their brand. That's a whole. It's not a. It's really not even a right or wrong thing. This is economics. There's a whole trend of economics where you price above the competition because you either think that your product is better or you want it to appear better. That's also the other part of it, is you want to price it higher because you want people to think it's better. And if you want to, like, a really good doctrine into that, if you want to look it up, just Google like BMW. Like, that's a really good one to look at. People think BMWs are better than Toyotas. Like, they're just better because they cost more, right? They're better. Oh, they're really not. but most people think they are. That's a part of marketing. It's a part of economics. So I get it. I definitely get it. I understand. Now the Metroid thing is a whole separate thing. That's the whole 2D thing, and that's just a personal.
Don't get me
I
started
think
on
the
it.
idea that
I
a
don't want
2D
you to.
game shouldn't be 60. It's
That's
silly.
stupid.
It's
dumb.
If the game comes out and the game's bad or short or missing feature, like is universally panned or something, maybe we can discuss it should have been cheaper. But without knowing those things, you can't just base it purely off of the style of game that it chose to be.
It's also not that it should be cheaper. I've said this with Battlefield. It's also that they know it will be cheaper. There's no point in giving money back. You're not going to just well, this game isn't as good as our other one, so let's lower the price. No,
Right.
You're going to launch it at 60, and when it doesn't sell well after a few weeks, then you run a promotion and then you sell it. You're not just going to give it back anyway. That doesn't make any sense. That's a part of it too, is that they know that there's a core customer of Nintendo. They will buy anything that Nintendo slaps Nintendo on, and they're going to get that money from them first, and then they'll be more aggressive. And they are aggressive with pricing. There are certain games that come down. You can get Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for half off and stuff like that. They're competitive. Now, they're not competitive on Mario Kart or like Breath of the Wild, because the game's just selling 15 million copies out of the gate. Like you're just gonna pay for that. So, but it's an interesting slant of a question.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with you, Donnie, that I only can think of 3 examples of games that you could really make the argument that, oh, they're unfinished and came later. And it's like Mario Party, Aces, and Super Rush right now. I feel like those are the only 3 that you really kind of fit that description. And with Mario Party specifically,
do you think
I feel
some
like
Animal Crossing fans might say that?
Yeah, I don't follow Animal Crossing.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't either.
But I could see how they might fall into that. Rebecca can speak more to that.
A lot of Animal Crossing fans are not happy at this time.
Well, they were just hoping for a big update, right? Like, because you've got a lot of trickle updates.
Yeah,
over
were
the
people
past year,
thinking that about
we haven't
Animal
gotten a
Crossing, like
big
when
one.
it came out, like its first month, where people like it's light on content?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember something like the Brewster or the museum or something wasn't there day one, and that took a minute.
That's still not here.
Oh,
Well,
really?
Brewster's still not in the game.
Wow.
Brewster will
Rebecca's
probably
like,
never be in the
sorry
game.
to inform you.
Didn't they already confirm that he was coming?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he might never be in the game. Maybe fans just made up their own idea of what
You've
the
update's
update's going to
seen
be.
fans asking for Brewster.
Yeah, for sure.
That is like the #1 wish list right now. But I think people are upset that the updates did not continue after the first year, after seeing the love that Splatoon got.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
I think
also
it could
there's
still
also
happen.
a whole faction of New Leafers who are very unhappy that all of the content in New Leaf are not in New Horizons, but it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my mic is not good. It's a different game, and I feel like for Animal Crossing, they have added things that were not in New Leaf, like the terraforming and the decorating outside and all those sorts of things. It's just a different game. Like I think people expect Animal Crossing just to build on the last one each time and have all the same stuff plus new stuff, but that's just not the way the games are. It's a new entry.
Yeah. I think I'm seeing the chat, so I'm halfway responding to chat. But Thrax says I think people put too much value on graphics and hours in regards to the price tag. I think I'll just say this. If you want to get into it, we can, but we don't have to. With regards to Metroid, I don't think it's so much that. I do think there is the connotation that 2D games are easier to make than 3D games, and I think that's probably even true, like for the most part.
Probably,
but that doesn't mean that a 2D game can't be expensive to make as well, especially in dictating the art style. I think the issue is the market. You see games like Hollow Knight and Ori and stuff like that, and they're not full price. And then you look at Metroid, but again, you're holding apples and oranges. You know, you're talking about an indie game from Indie Studio, and you're talking about Nintendo with a property that's valuable for the last 50 years. They sold out amiibo of that character. Like it's sold out like that. So it's different, and it's really, I hate the whole the conversation is it worth it? When somebody says it isn't worth it, it's really not worth it.
It's so subjective.
It's personal.
It's so subjective.
It's not worth it to me. Like I'm not going to pay that much, and that's your value of it. But when millions are paying that much, then it's objectively worth it. Like it's proven that it's worth it. When it sells out at every major retailer, then it is worth it. They've proven that. If anything, it might be priced as a budget. If it sold out so fast, they probably could have sold it for more.
Honestly, and I have said this so many times online, we are so lucky that prices of games have not kept up with inflation, because they would be so expensive. They would be $100 now.
They would, but on that argument, you also have to take into account the size of the gaming market. These developers and these publishers are making 10, 12, 15 times more than they were ever making too. So while the price for inflation is all easy 1-to-1, the market's completely different. There's the customer base is 25 times larger than it was at the time of that inflation. And when people are writing,
that's the
exactly,
reason why
it's subsidizing it. And that's economics. That's the market. But when you see people take those slants, or you see developers, I see a lot of times publishers will say that we haven't raised the game of price in 25 years. It's like you made record profits in 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't want to hear it anymore, because they because it doesn't make their case. They leave that part out of it. I'm not saying
I don't think, I mean, that's true. That's very true. But from the consumer side, that I don't care how much Nintendo made on, profits. I don't give a crap. What I care about is how much money I'm spending on the game. And I'm thankful that hasn't gone up when, if they all decided to, they could, and there is nothing we would be able to do about it.
No, you could just stop buying them, right? Like, that's the only thing you could do about it, is you could buy less.
But that wouldn't happen. People would, though.
You're right. I've bought less PlayStation games since they've raised to $7.
I think there's definitely a point where it would get, like, I'm not saying it would get to $100, but I think if 10 years ago they had done $70, we would be sitting at that now, and people would have gotten used to it, and it would be the way that it is. But
I'm not
we're
saying,
lucky that it hasn't happened.
When I've brought this, when we've talked about these topics in the past in other podcasts, I only bring up the other point just to make sure that the other point is said. I don't like bringing up this one-sided argument, because I've seen IGN and I've seen journalists and podcasters, they just take it and they run. Like, they just go. They're like, back when the game was $60 and today it'd be $140. There's a lot more to that conversation too, but there's a lot more, but it's not totally true. It's half truth. It's kind of true. It's not completely true.
The whole point of inflation is that everything's valued differently. We're making more money than we were.
But we're not, actually. The cost per capita of, like, the average American family, like the spending power of the average American family from the 90s is way down. That's another part of it. There's a lot more that goes into that than just the cost of the dollar. That's all. And I only bring it up.
Podcast.
You know how I am. When I cover a topic, I like to try and learn as much as I want to know all angles. I think that's the better way, so that I just, that's just a soapbox for me. I always just make sure it's said, so I don't want to feel like I'm leading anybody astray. Like, I don't want people to be misled. There are pros and cons to that argument on both sides. But I am the person that routinely buys games for more than $60, $70. I bought Dying Light 2, cost me $200. This stupid little statue with a flashlight. I do this all the time. I bought this stupid edition of Streets of Rage 4. It's amazing. You should buy one too. It's awesome.
Yep, I already spent the price of Metroid just on the special edition and the amiibo.
I bought all that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention,
and
if you're
still debated on a digital
now,
version.
so expensive.
I'm sorry, Rebecca.
So expensive. I was saying, not to mention, if you're a retro game collector right now, that is booming now. Booming.
Another part of that game price argument is that companies have devised ways of raising prices. They have $80 digital editions and $90 digital editions, collector's editions for $150. They have their cake and eat it too. The reason I get on that soapbox and it always kind of like you'll pinch a nerve on that is because I see, head of Activision says, we're not making enough money anymore. It's like, you made $3 billion last year. It's like, how much is enough? I like hearing that more from indie devs than I do from EA and because that's usually where it comes from, right? You don't see, when you see that article and you see that quote, it's like, head of Ubisoft thinks the prices of games have gone too low for too long. It's like, of course Ubisoft thinks that as they rake in money, like by the truckload. Get out of here with that. Personally, a little nonsense. You're making plenty of money at $60 a pop. If anything, you're making hand over fist money at $60 a pop. Like, you're not. Yeah. They'll have you act like with the cost of the development of the game that they're losing money. They'll go out of business. It's like the business has never been better.
Have you seen how they charge for Just Dance? They make plenty of money.
Oh,
it's very, very solid business right now.
Jeez. Where were we? We kind of strayed from this
what's the next question? Well, how did we start on that?
Okay. I really like this question. Ahoy Adam wanted to know, if you could work on your favorite game franchise, would you? By working on the games, you will already know the stories and all the secrets in the game. No surprises playing the game. I liked this question.
It's a really great question. I would say yes. And it comes hesitantly, because I do know, like, if you were testing a game and you play it so much, there's a point where, like, you almost get tired of it. And that's definitely got to be a part of it. That said, the question is, do you want to work on your favorite game? The opportunity to be a part of the creation of my favorite game? Yeah. Not just a game. An A game? The answer is no. My favorite game? Yeah. That's just so special. I would love to do it.
I can't remember what it was or who this was. Maybe one of you two heard it, but I think it was just this past week. I read something where I think a developer was saying, we don't like to hire fans, of our games, not because of like
bet that makes
anything
sense.
against that, but just because like we want new fresh takes. We don't want it to be like kind
be
of what it's
beholden.
already been or like what you think it should be. Like we want new fresh like ideas that are coming from outside of our normal fan base. We want something
that
that's
makes a
bringing
lot
in
of
new
sense.
fans, not catering to current fans.
Yep.
And that kind of made me think a little bit.
I mean,
Because
it's
I know
probably
that if
still
I
nice
was
to have. Oh, keep going.
I was gonna say, I know if I were to be like working on a Zelda game or a
Yep.
Pokemon game, like I would be really trying to make it true to what I think fans want, which on one side is really good for fans, but on the other side, you're not pulling in new people, you're not trying new things to differentiate it. Like I
Dude,
feel like you would easily fall into that trap
if I could
because you're trying to
design
make it what you think it should be.
if I could design one tree in Breath of the Wild 2, I'd be
great.
so damn happy. I'd tell everybody, I'd be like, that's my tree. I did that. Like, I'm a part of it.
Yep.
Like, that would be so great. It'd be worth any of that heartache
Yeah.
to do it for that.
Of course.
But a game that I don't care about, that sounds worse.
Yeah.
That's just a game. You're just there for a job. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came to the same conclusion, Donnie, and it kind of depends on the context a little bit for me because, favorite game, first thing that comes to mind is, a Zelda, a Metroid, some big Nintendo game like that. And I feel like if you were to work on that, you're not necessarily going to know everything about the game. I mean, imagine
whole
if you worked on
team.
Breath of the Wild, maybe all you did was work on stasis. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you understand how the Cryonis thing works, or you never saw that side of the map or something random.
Or maybe
could
you
still
worked on the
be
music. Maybe you worked on the
Yeah.
concept art,
Yeah,
you know. You
exactly.
could work on
So-
a game without, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, without
Steven.
spoiling the whole game, basically. But the number one reason I would really want to work with it, not just to have my name attached to it, but I would want to hide something in that game that is like, if you do this secret thing or if you look in this secret place, you can see I put that there, like that little hidden image or that little hidden text. Like, yeah, I hid that there just so I could find
Yeah.
it later.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be
I'm
great.
surprised there's not more. Like, I know some games do have that and have a lot of it, but I'm surprised that you don't see even more of that, of like stuff that you find.
They go through insane amounts of QA.
Yeah, you probably have to
Yeah.
hide it really,
You have to be
really
really,
well.
really good. They go through insane
Yeah.
amounts of QA.
That's true. Yeah, especially Nintendo, especially big. Yeah, that's true.
And it does happen.
I like it.
Usually it happens, I think, for like the worst. Like they're like, I want to say, and I'm not sure on this, so don't quote me on the game, but one of the games like The Division or something that had like a Nazi symbol in it, and it shipped that way, and people were like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Ubisoft? They were like, "Oh,
Oh
God,
my
sorry, we
God.
didn't mean to do that." Like, and they had to patch it out and everything. Like, so every now and again, like stuff gets by, and it's not always bad. I feel like it's the more controversial stuff that usually gets found.
Yeah.
That usually gets found. I think the other stuff, I think there's more of it in there than we know, but you'd have to know. You know, like otherwise it's a newspaper headline that you just walked by in a game, like you don't know to recognize it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I like it. Kevin
Good
says
question.
it's the month of Skyward Sword HD. I've never played the original before, and I'm excited to play this. My question is, are you going to play with the Joy-Con motion controls or with the button-only controls?
I play with the button only controls. If it was motion controls only, I don't even think I'd buy the game.
Really?
Yeah, I fully intend to play buttons. I'll try motion control because I played the first one with motion. I'm curious to see how it compares on the Switch, but I intend to play through the whole thing with buttons.
I haven't
I'm
been
the same way with
haven't been
Steven.
impressed with the motion controls on Switch
Really?
really to date.
What
Like
else have you tried it on?
like
'Cause I haven't
outside of
really used
gyro,
it on much
like
outside of,
gyro
1-2
works,
Switch.
right? Like
Yeah.
gyro works. But like anytime you're doing like freehand moving or like sword fighting, like
I don't do a
golf
lot of
or
that.
something like that,
Ooh,
it's
I've done
not.
the Let's Go with the throwing
Let's
the
Go.
Pokeball. I hated
Oh, yeah.
that.
It doesn't feel as good as the Wiimote was. Like the Wiimote Plus was very like 1-to-1 and it was always balanced. And yeah, you had to sync it every now and again, but I always felt in control. The Switch gets wonky a bit. And
Yeah, it
I'm
drifts
just,
a lot, doesn't it?
I'm wondering if it's like because it doesn't have a sensor bar that's like constantly tracking it. Like I don't know, but if it's because it's in relation to like where you set its epicenter, right? You kind of set it, and then like the tracking is from this place that you've set in a space. It doesn't actually have a tracker, so I think maybe that has something to do. If I had to make a guess, but I haven't been as impressed with it, so I don't expect it to be like great.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up the number one reason why I would play it button mode, play Skyward Sword button mode, is even with like Motion Plus, and as you know, the Wii did a decent job tracking, you still had to recenter that thing constantly while playing Skyward Sword because you're waving it around so wildly to
And
try
the
to
combat
get those.
in Skyward Sword requires you to be precise.
Yes. And so you're constantly recentering it just so you can be precise in combat. So if the stick lets me always be centered and I just have to flip the stick in the correct direction, that's great. That saves me a huge headache that I had with the original game.
Yep.
I hate the Wii remotes with a fiery passion. I like the Joy-Con a lot better. So I am going to at least try it to see if I like it, because I do think when it works well, the motion in Skyward Sword is good. It's very good when it works. And I think if the Joy-Con does work better, I think it would be an enjoyable experience to kind of see what made that game special with the motion control.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm also going to primarily play a button control and
I mean, the sticks
probably play in
just-
handheld quite a bit.
The sticks just look better to me. It's like once I got the sticks, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Actually, it makes sense in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is probably a much, because they're all the enemies. It's not just like up, down, left, right. It's kind of
Diagonal.
at an angle, diagonal, 3/4. Like that's a part of it. That's the whole combat's built around that. So
Well, and you have to sometimes do like you're coming from the upper side, and then you have to like immediately do something on the other side. And to get the Wii mote up to that position, you always do a slash
Yep.
you didn't mean to do to try to get to the position.
and if it
you
if it
wanted.
goes off 1 out of 4 times, it's too many. That's not good
Yeah.
enough. You know, like that's not as enjoyable as it works all the time. I want it to work all the time.
Which can I make one other minor gripe? I'm not a big fan of how Nintendo has only advertised the button controls for handheld. Like I'm pretty confident that the button stick mode is available for on the
yeah.
TV. But when they advertise it, they never ever advertise it that way. It's only like,
hadn't
oh
even
yeah, and
noticed
button
that.
control for handheld. And I'm like, why
Uh-oh.
are you being so selective about it? And yeah, if you're not like paying attention, it starts to sound like, hold on, is it
Wait.
only available in
Have they
handheld?
confirmed if it works with Pro Controller?
I'm gonna go
I
look.
can't say 100%, but I'm pretty sure
They can't do that again
it's
after Let's
supposed
Go. I
to.
swear, like, oh my god, that was.
Yeah, like
I
if-
feel
if
like we
you
know
go
about
back
it
and
by now.
watch the
It's just
E3
TV mode.
trailer, if you watch the recent commercials
yeah,
for
TV
it, like
mode with the Joy-Cons.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't feel like they have 100% confirmed it, but I want to say that it is supposed to have button controls for on the TV.
It's
But
got
their
to.
advertising is
I
not
can't imagine
great.
that
It does
doesn't.
not
It's got
highlight
to.
it well.
It's got to.
Listen,
Skyward
I,
Sword
um,
HD offers Switch Pro controller support. God, it's
Okay,
a
good.
mouthful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I
Good.
need, because
Good,
their
good,
other
good, good.
advertisement it does not spell that out.
As
clearly.
revealed through the official Nintendo UK website, all new button controls allowing you to choose your style of play. The description reads the game from the bottom of the page, mentioning support for Nintendo Switch Pro controller in TV docked mode.
Good. Yeah, that's what I assumed. I feel like they have been just clear enough that was probably the case. But man, a lot of their ads.
shouldn't
I
have to
like that
wonder,
you were
though.
that
You shouldn't
smart,
have
though.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. That was me with Mario Golf. You remember? Like, they had this trailer. It was like, Mario Golf. And I'm like, oh, no.
I have a sinking feeling. I had that
no.
a couple times. The Skyward Sword. It's like I don't know about this.
It's missing. It's tournaments. They didn't say tournaments. It's not in the trailer. It's not on the Japanese website. It's not in the UK. I was scouring. Like, it's nowhere to be found, guys. Be afraid.
My goodness.
That should do it.
Okay. Do we want to
Yeah.
save the other questions?
It's an hour and 45 minutes. Let's
we should
call
be
it
done.
tops. Shack Chat. You guys were lovely tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Steven, glad to have you back.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
dropping
having
by.
me back.
Go ahead.
Super fun to be here.
Plug your Twitter, your socials, anything that you'd like to. Let people know where they
Yeah,
can
so
follow
I
you,
hang
find
out
you.
in Discord. I lurk a lot in Discord, and sometimes I'll have a chance to be a little bit more active. But Zenith in Discord, come chat with me on the PSVG Discord. I think my handle on Twitter's Zenith A, so Zenith AY. I'm far less active on Twitter, so Discord's the place to come chat with me. But yeah, happy to be here, Rebecca. So nice to come podcast with you and get to meet
That's
you.
awesome.
hmm
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that's going to do it for us. I hope you enjoyed my Mario Golf thoughts and all of our thoughts on Smash. Just gonna let that pause sit there and marinate. Folks.
Excited. Please be excited.
Please be excited. And we'll catch you next week. Good night, Koopalings.